Imperial Japan was unwilling to surrender during World War II under any circumstances, and one of its ploys to prevent it was its program to develop nuclear weapons. The project involving nuclear research was so secretive that evidence has only come up in recent years. Still, the program never went past its development stage, as the United States got ahead and detonated atomic bombs on top of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Project Nigo. In April of 1940, Lieutenant General Takeo Yasuda, head of the Japanese Army's Aviation Technology Research Institute, acknowledged the potential of fission research. He then commissioned Lieutenant Colonel Tatsusaburo Suzuki to investigate the feasibility of developing a uranium bomb. Suzuki's report recommended starting the project right away, and Yasuda made sure to circulate the document among top officials of the Imperial Army and Navy. The Navy wasn't interested in the project, but the Army approved research funding in 1941. The Japanese atomic research effort had begun. Dr. Yoshio Nishina was selected to headline the program. Nishina had studied with Danish scientist Niels Bohr and would eventually be regarded as the father of nuclear physics in Japan. The discrete two-story Building 49 in the Riken facilities of the Institute of Physical and Chemical Research in northern Tokyo was selected to host the top-secret project, designated as Nigo. The science. Project Nigo had a minuscule budget, with less than $500,000 allocated to the operation. Only Nishina and physicist Tameki Hidehiko were involved in the program's earliest phase. The American Manhattan Project examined two elements, uranium and plutonium, while the Japanese concentrated only on the first. The Americans also performed thorough research on 3 enrichment procedures, but Project Nigo only focused on gaseous thermal diffusion. After a year of development, a larger team with drafted graduate students was put together. The team would eventually grow to 20 members by 1944, and they were divided into 4 groups focused on theory, chemistry, separation, and analysis. The theory team incorrectly believed that 10 kilograms of uranium, enriched to 10% uranium-235, would be enough to build a bomb. In contrast, Hiroshima's Little Boy bomb had 64 kilograms and 80% enriched uranium-235. The chemistry team was in charge of producing the uranium hexafluoride used for the enrichment. The crystal element needed to be heated above 56 degrees Celsius to turn into gas. The separation team would then use the thermal diffusion separator to enrich the uranium or elevate the concentration of uranium-235 atoms in the gas. To achieve this, they would build a 16-foot thermal diffuser separator that heated the hex crystals into gas and circulated it through a narrow gap between 2 copper pipes. The outer pipe would be at 50 degrees Celsius, while the inner one would be heated up to 400 degrees. Lighter uranium-235 atoms would then accumulate at the top, and the heavier 238 ones would fall to the bottom. A collection chamber at the top would hold the solidified crystals, and these would hopefully have a higher concentration of the necessary uranium-235 atoms for the fission process. Finally, the analysis team would determine the enrichment percentage of the test samples. Nonsense. By 1944, Project Nigo was undergoing several complications. On the one hand, the chemistry team could not figure out how to convert the uranium into hex crystals and then contain the corrosive substance. Meanwhile, the separation team couldn't find the materials to build the machine given the war's extreme circumstances. The copper pipes required to build the separator needed to be perfectly straight, but the ones provided by the Army were bent and had to be straightened by hand. Still, the separator was completed by July. It took the group 4 months to see any promising results. In November, the separator finally produced samples of the enriched uranium. But then the results from the analysis team indicated that the sample's enrichment was null. The team concluded that an atomic bomb was theoretically, but not technically, feasible. Even worse, uranium was scarce throughout the empire, which was quickly losing pivotal territories, and ships weren't able to reach the mainlands. The few amounts of uranium ore that the Japanese retrieved from their colonies in Korea were of poor quality. General Yasuda was wrong to have assumed the element would be easy to obtain. The researchers didn't even have enough material for a single bomb. When Major General Nobuji wrote to Nishina about possible alternatives, like using conventional explosives instead of uranium, Nishina replied, quote, "That's nonsense." The project was finally cancelled on April 13, 1945, when an Allied B-29 raid bombed the Riken facilities. Building 49 survived the attack, but eventually caught fire. The only consolation was their belief that no other country could build such a powerful nuclear weapon. They were wrong. Mere dreams. A simultaneous project named Efco was launched by the Navy under Professor Bunsaku Arakatsu at the Kyoto Imperial University in 1943. Arakatsu had studied abroad for several years under Ernst Rutherford and even Albert Einstein in Berlin. The Navy hadn't been enticed by the notions of nuclear weaponry at first. Still, as the war raged on, nearly all the Imperial fleet had been sunk, and they were desperate for anything that could turn the odds in their favor. Then again, Arakatsu only received $80,000 in funding at the beginning of the project. Arakatsu's team studied a different enrichment process, using a powerful machine capable of centrifuging the uranium at 2,500 revolutions per second, but the bomb was never built. Even though the Imperial Japanese Navy and Army did collaborate by the end of the war, the designs were only finished by July of 1945, 1 month before the Empire's unconditional surrender. Post-war. Several factors contributed to the unsuccessful Japanese atomic endeavors, including low prioritization and even lower budgets. Still, it's surprising that the Japanese and the Germans never collaborated or shared information about their nuclear programs. In contrast, British and American scientists worked in conjunction, and the British made crucial contributions to the success of the Manhattan Project. Project Nego and Project Efco turned out to be small and futile attempts that were never even able to get enough uranium to build a single weapon. And needless to say, they also couldn't develop a detonation system. Despite conspiracy theories that claim Japan did build an atomic bomb in its Korean colonies, the truth is that Japan ratified a pacifist constitution after the war. Even though it is one of the most technologically advanced nations in the world, Japan has never sought to weaponize nuclear technology, not even after what they endured after World War II. Furthermore, Japan adopted a policy encompassing 3 points: not possessing, producing, or allowing entry of nuclear weapons. And the Fukushima incident in 2011 increased their wariness to use nuclear energy or technology. However, the threat of its nuclear state neighbors, China and North Korea, has recently pushed Japan to reconsider its position. According to the nonprofit Atomic Heritage Foundation, anonymous statements from Japanese officials have confirmed that they have the means to develop a nuclear weapon in a short period, having what is commonly referred to as, quote, a bomb in the basement. Thanks for watching. Please let us know in the comments below if you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to subscribe to our Dark Documentaries channels for more historical anecdotes and mysteries.